What makes you afraid? Some of All Fear lives at the crossroads between our greatest phobias and the horror movies we love to experience. Part pop culture and part psychology. It's time to find out why we're all so scared of the dark.
All right. Live from our bedroom.
Brown chicken, brown cows.
Bow, chicken, bow, wow.
It's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
At least once a week.
At least once a week.
Unless we're tired. That's marital sex, y'all.
We got kids, man.
Married
and
sex.
they're right outside the door, too.
They're listening.
I mean, they could
talk.
be.
It's okay.
Yeah, why not?
They know. They're not listening. We've already said sex. They're not listening.
We're in the bedroom because the kids are here. Normally, when we record, we don't have the children, and we have them tonight. So we have made a new studio.
We're improvising
in the bedroom.
In the bedroom.
Dang.
It's where we make music, anyways. Sorry, Mom.
It's where we make the music happen.
Sorry, Mom.
Sweet, sweet, sweet music. Welcome back, Feardos.
Hey, Feardos.
I'm Drew, the husband and horror nerd, and this is Kris, the wife and professional mental health therapist. Fun fact, Kris is a former artistic roller skater, and I used to willingly rollerblade around my hometown without any shame.
What?
Yeah, it's a true story. Oh. There was a brief time between like when I was like, oh, like rollerblading's cool. It's 1994, and you know. So I went around without any shame.
It's still cool. Were you naked?
Cool. Not cool. Was I naked?
Yeah.
No.
Somebody has rollerbladed naked at Burning Man, I promise you.
Well, I'm sure they have. No shame. But I was 13, so
probably in their mid 40 to 50s.
Yeah, I was not naked. That would be odd. That would be odd.
Well,
that'd be strange for a 14-year-old or 13-year-old kid to do.
Why would you feel shame anyways? Blading is cool.
I don't know. I think we need to change the subject here. You know what I've heard though? You know what I've heard?
What?
Through the grapevine? I've heard that we're now being called the Ed and Lorraine Warren of podcasting. Oh, so
didn't you know them?
You know, if you have any fun possessed objects in your home, let us know. We can't do anything about it, but we want to hear about it because that shit's cool.
That shit would be fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having it.
I'm down.
Give me some creepy dolls.
What?
No. I like creepy dolls.
No, I like to hear about them. I don't want to own them.
Yeah, I want to own some possessed shit.
I'm good.
Give me some possessed stuff.
So when are you moving out?
Come on. You know, it'd be cool. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you like the show, please go to your apps, your podcast apps, and give us a rating and review, just like Brent Clifton did.
Oh.
Also known as my cousin Branny.
Your cousin.
Cousin Branny. He wrote on Apple Podcasts, I've been listening since episode 1, and the show just keeps getting better. The concept is out of this world if you love arcane knowledge, even if you aren't a big fan of horror films. I tend to be super picky. Drew and Kris present the content in a fun conversational tone, and even though they say they're going too long, the time just flies by. It has been great to hear the improvements they've made to the production as they have become more practiced at creating their podcast. I look forward to every new episode with great anticipation.
Oh, you are just super.
Thanks, Branny.
Thanks, Branny.
Be like Cousin Brent.
Be like Branny.
Y'all. Be like Cousin Brent, y'all.
Rate and review.
That's right. Give us a rating and review. And you know what? If you give us a rating and review, all you got to do is shoot us a message on social media, and we're going to send you a handful of stickers. Our brand new stickers.
Yeah, Drew was licking some envelopes this week and sending stickers out.
I sent some stickers out, and we want you to go plaster them around your neighborhood.
All you have to do is
put them on the wall of your dive bar bathroom.
We'll give them to you for free.
Mm-hmm. I got a whole shitload of them, so take them.
Please.
Show your Feardo pride, people.
Get them out of my house.
Oh, how are you doing, honey?
I'm good. It has been a crazy week.
Crazy.
You know, Mercury is in Gatorade right now, so everything's
isn't it always? It seems like it always is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
We haven't. It just hasn't been like super exciting. Just a lot of like family stuff and like just daily grind and taking care of business.
Sometimes you got to do that, guys.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
You got to buckle down and take care of business.
We did go see Midsommar last week after, like we said, after our episode. As soon as we finished recording, we headed out and went and saw the new Ari Aster flick.
Holy mindfuck.
Which you were not, I don't know. What'd you think?
Oh, man. The first
20 minutes are about
15, 20 minutes, like, are so realistic and
So
heavy. And like I'm getting emotional just like talking about it because they oh my God, they hit it on the head what it's like on all sides of that experience of being someone and of trying to be a relative or a family member to someone who's really struggling heavily with a mental illness.
Yeah.
And
the grief and the grief that's depicted in that first
it is heart-wrenching.
is brutal. It's about, and I think I said, we wrote an article this week. So we wrote an article. It's up on someofallfearpodcast.com and it's done very well on our website. It's been read about 350 times in the last 5 days.
That's
or
nice.
whatever. So that's kind of cool. So it struck a nerve, I guess. And it was really interesting to kind of dissect it because as soon as this movie came out, just like Hereditary did when it came out, this Ari Aster just has a way of like just making you so uncomfortable throughout the whole of his movies, like start to finish. And he did in this one big time. Like it was just, you just felt uncomfortable and uneasy the whole time. There were some comedic moments. He had some black comedy mixed in.
It was
some very dark comedy,
really well placed,
mixed in throughout it. But it was basically a big. We decided as we analyzed it that it had a lot. It was basically a movie about codependency and dealing with grief,
for codependency and grief and relational grief.
Right.
How grief is not just one person or a singular event. It's a multitude. It ripples, and how it affects differently in each person. And it was not at all what I expected. I don't know what I expected. It was not at all what I expected. I also don't think I like it.
You never like any. You don't like those ones that make you just completely, sad.
Well, it's not just sad. It was like you said, the whole
it's just heavy.
time. It was
so
2
heavy.
hours and 20 minutes of almost not breathing, waiting for what's going to happen because you just, like you said, everything is uneasy and everything in that movie is so bright. And that even is unnerving and unsettling. So, I mean, go out and watch it. You're always going to have, your naysayers and your hey nayers.
Well, I think it was really interesting because I think there was so many different, immediately there's like tons of interpretations, tons of opinions from everything from like, this movie was fucking terrible.
This is a ripoff of Wicker Man.
Yeah, Wicker Man. Yeah, it's just Wicker Man, in a different package, which is just bullshit. Like, yes, it's folk horror and it has similarities. But gosh, every horror movie has homage to another horror movie, of some kind, but it's nothing like Wicker Man, really. Other than an outsider comes to a folky, out of the way cultish kind of environment. But a lot of those rituals and stuff that were in Wicker Man that are also in Midsommar, those are real rituals. They're real ancient rituals from a lot of these Scandinavian countries and countries, that various different cultures and people groups that practice these things. But there were so many diverse opinions about, the main character of Dani. Is she this kind of, does she kind of come to this great enlightenment? Is she this big feminist hero? Is Christian, her boyfriend, kind of this kind of bad character and she's the good character? And really, we didn't really see it that way. It was more of kind of a mix of how these two characters interacted was very similar to how codependents act in relationships and codependent relationships in general.
Right.
And you're a recovering codependent. So
yeah, active recovering codependent for about 9
who married a mild
now?
Narcissist.
Yeah.
Which, that's what they do.
We keep each other in check a little bit. At least I think we do. Maybe that was codependent of me, but
we are able to classify ourselves. So that's a good thing, right? That's self-aware, isn't it? Mildly.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. We're very aware, of our codependency, which, it has some similarities to, narcissistic traits. Of course, it doesn't carry all of them, but there is definitely something behind the experience of codependency that is very much, I want to feel enough. I want to feel needed. I want to feel wanted. I want to feel a part of something bigger. And I felt like Ari Aster, number one, told us that this what this movie was about.
Well, he did. In interviews, he actually said that this is basically what the journey was. It was a journey of codependency, and that she doesn't really win.
And then number 2,
she doesn't win the journey or win this process or come out on top in the process. She actually kind of ends up in the same place.
Reflecting on the process myself, having looked at the dynamics in her initial relationship and how she kind of falls into the trap of people pleasing, even though she's deeply grieving and she's not asking for what she truly needs or wants. And he's not able to give it to her. And she knows that.
Right.
So she's willing to, quote unquote, self-sacrifice, which is very, it's such a double-edged sword, because you're giving up so much of yourself to someone else that you lose yourself in the process. And that's essentially what happens to her when she tags along on this trip.
Don't go too deep, because I don't want to give any spoilers away.
Oh, whatever. And she tags along on this trip, and ultimately, in the end, it looks like she's kind of been a little bit
like victorious in the
end. But really, if I think about the dynamics that are going on in the larger system around her in this cult, they're very similar. And that
to what her relationship was. It's kind of a bigger group that just kind of is a
it's like a
macrocosm of her relationship.
Yep. It's just, it's like very reflective. And that's something that codependents have to be very aware of, is mimicking those relational patterns on larger scales or different scales when we think we've escaped it. And so that's why I'm with a mild narcissist now.
That's right.
Because I
that's
have
what you're
my
attracted
codependency in check, though. And so, yeah, go check it out. Tell us if you think that we're right or wrong. I'll tell you my opinion on it too, and we can discuss codependency. If there are any other of you recovering or soon to be recovering codependents out there, reach out.
Well, this movie will strike a nerve with you. There's no doubt. I mean, I really loved it, and I love these kind of movies that make you think, and I love horror that's intelligent, and
it's great.
If you go online, there's so many horror fans who are, no offense, but
shallow.
Just dumbasses. I mean, there's a lot of dumbass
horror
that literally don't. Anything that makes you think even a little bit is considered an art film. Oh, I'm tired of all these art film horror movies. Screw you guys. If I get it. If all you want to watch is just slashers, that's fine. I personally love it all. I like all of it, the superficial to the cheesy to the intellectual. I think they all have their place and they're fun. And I really hate one-dimensional horror fans. It really bothers me when people are just like so against anything that makes them think, and because I really like those. I think they're important, and I think they give us something back.
I think sometimes I like them, and then sometimes I need
something stupid.
3 weeks and a therapist after I see them. So
it's a balance. Go watch it, guys. Go check it out. We had a heavy episode last week with our fear of sex episode. It was mildly heavy, so we won't dig too deep into Midsommar just yet, but I'm sure somewhere down the road, we should branch out into doing some of these kind of dysfunctional relationship kind of things and pair those with movies. And instead of just doing a phobia, kind of doing maybe a little bonus episodes.
Well, I told you about how when I was growing up, I used to, hey, I'm going to date myself, y'all. I used to name my burned CDs. And I had a kind of a trend in high school for a while where I was naming them after specific fears that I felt of myself.
That's so funny.
So
that's crazy when you told me that.
And I really, I was digging around trying to find them the other day. I know they're here somewhere.
I want pictures of those to post on social media, because how perfect is that?
But I know that some of them were like fear of being alone, fear of being forgotten, things that are, as I reflect back, were very reflective of my needs, of myself that I wasn't ready to address as also codependent.
Just being a super angsty emo teenager.
Shut up, Dad.
So afraid of
Get out of my
alone.
room. I'm gonna die alone.
Oh, well, let's play a little What the Fear. What do you think?
Let's do it.
And you want to do you want to do the honors this time? Or do you want me to?
You do it. So
all
I
right.
can do the background sketch.
All right. Oh yeah, that's right. You've been doing the little.
That's my favorite.
All right. Well, let's transition into our phobia-based trivia game here, and it's time for the world's greatest phobia-based trivia game.
What the fear? You say it now.
What the fear?
There you go. Okay, you have to say it like that.
All right, it's time for What the Fear.
Yeah.
Another week, another round of crazy phobias.
Another round of winning.
Yeah, you've been doing really well.
Thanks.
You've been killing it. You've been
Thank
killing
you.
it. I think we found a good balance.
It's good for my
Your ego,
it's good for my soul.
your soul.
Yeah.
I went straight to ego.
My in here.
Is that what you call your ego?
Yeah, no.
Your
my
soul?
in here in my chest plate is where my ego is. You're not familiar with the ego strophagus sarconium.
Is that right there in the middle?
Yeah,
Is that right
here.
right below the breastplate?
Right
below the breasticles?
Right adjacent to the breasticles.
Adjacent to the breasticles?
Not a doctor.
Not a doctor. Well, it's time for What the Fear.
Okay.
And I got some good ones for you.
Well, let's do this.
I just realized this one's even funnier than I thought it was.
Oh, yay. You made it weird.
Oh, good times. Good times. All right. Your first phobia is bromidrophobia. Bro, just like bro. B-R-O. Mid, M-I-D-R-O. Midrophobia. Bromidrophobia. Are you ready for your hint?
Yes, please.
All right. By the time you got to the third day of Woodstock, someone with this phobia would be having serious panic attacks. By the time you got to the third day of Woodstock, someone with this phobia would be having serious panic attacks.
Fear of body odor.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, so I
Wow.
don't know where I remember this from, but
Did you remember that one?
bromide
Oh, bromide, yeah.
is an ingredient in deodorant, I think.
That
Or
would make
something
sense.
like that.
Is it like a that would make sense. I don't know.
So,
I didn't look at the roots, but
So I
that
don't,
would
I
make
don't
sense.
know, but I remember the word bromide, and I was like,
having
where
to do
I
with
remember
smells
that
or having to do
from?
with odor.
Or like a cleaning or something like that. And then I was like, Woodstock.
It's the fear of body smells.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
It's either going to be that or
Not
not
bad.
showering.
Bro, well, and then it had bro at the beginning too, which I liked.
Bro.
Like bro, I don't know. I just think of bros as being smelly.
With sweaty balls.
I mean, they probably smell like
Monster.
Drakkar Noir mostly.
Monster
And and what's that? What's that bro deodorant? Axe body spray.
And sadness.
And sadness.
Dried
and
tears.
despair.
And dried tears and semen.
An old Four Loko.
Oh, stale Four Loko. No. Now it's
Claw.
White Claw.
That's not for the boys though,
For
is
the
it?
claw.
That's for the ladies.
The claw.
The ladies are liking the claw.
Ladies love the claw.
It's like basically like wine spritzers, aren't they?
Pretty much. It's like Four Loko for ladies.
All right. Are you ready for your next one?
Let's do it.
1 for 1. Well done. I kind of miss the days where I just got them all wrong, and it was just shameful.
But you loved the shame.
Well, I didn't love the shame.
You loved the shame.
I did not love the
you
shame.
Did.
I wanted to get them right.
You relished in the shame.
All right. Number 2. Clinophobia or cleanophobia. Clinophobia. C-L-I-N-O phobia. Clinophobia.
What's my hint?
Most kids seem to have this fear, but most parents, well, good parents anyway, still enforce these rules every night. Most kids seem to have this fear, but most parents, the good ones anyway, still enforce these rules every night.
Fear of going to sleep?
Close.
Going to bed?
I'll give it to you. Fear of going to bed. Damn it. You could have gone brushing your teeth. You could have gone a lot of ways.
Brushing my teeth at first, and then I was like, but not every kid fears brushing it. But they wrote a book, Go the Fuck to Sleep.
That's true.
About kids
Go the fuck to sleep.
Go the fuck to sleep. When it's bedtime.
Stop hitting my computer.
I know, I'm sorry. You have it very close to me. And
Our kids are always like, 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes.
Can I do after the show? Why? The show.
Can I finish the show?
1,000 times that you can pause on.
Our kids have been watching the Goldbergs, and which I like the Goldbergs. It's a good show, but I've literally seen it now. Like, I've seen every episode probably like 15 times at this point.
So many times.
I remember doing that when I was a kid. Like Saved by the Bell, I watched like, what was it on 6 times a day? And I think I literally watched it every time it was on.
There was marathons.
Yeah, it was on over and over. And then when it wasn't
on TBS, it was on TNT marathons.
So I get it. I watched every sitcom over and over and over again, but I think I mixed it up a little bit.
No. We didn't mix it up.
I did. I totally did because there was stuff on in between. Like, you know, it'd be like Full House, and then it'd be Family Matters, and then it'd be.
Well, that's the thing is that we were forced to mix it up.
Because we didn't have the choice to just watch things. We didn't have a Roku that we could just sit and watch Hulu over and over again.
over and over. So.
All right, 2 for 2. Son of a bitch.
Sorry. This is my wheelhouse.
Don't like this.
Wheelhouse.
All right. I feel like I need to make this one tougher now somehow. I don't know how to. I've already written my clue. How do I? You're probably gonna get this one anyway because you probably know the root. But ichthyophobia. Ichthyophobia. ICTHYO phobia. Can you get it without the hint? Ichthyophobia.
So, in Reno.
Do you know the state? No, not Reno. In Nevada.
Hold on. In Nevada. In Reno at Great Basin, there's a beer called the Ichthyosaurus.
Right, that's the state something of Nevada, state fossil. I think it's state. Seriously, it is.
State fossil of Nevada is the Ichthyosaurus. Mm-hmm. So
it's a big deal.
And I think it's very old. Flying animal, right?
Could be.
I don't think I can get it without the hint.
All right, I'll give you a hint, but the hint's gonna ruin it. You wouldn't find a person with this fear in the ocean snorkeling.
Oh, damn!
And they probably wouldn't go inside and watch Finding Nemo either.
Okay, so I was like way wrong.
Way off.
It's not a flying thing.
It was not a flying thing.
But it did have flippers, so I thought in my head it was...
Those were wings?
Yeah, those are wings.
Those are flippers.
You don't know?
Faster than lightning. They call me Flipper, Flipper. Faster than lightning. Well, that was pretty good.
Thank you.
All right.
I've not practiced.
So what do you think?
Can I have the hint again? I'm sorry. I was distracted by the fact that I got it
so
wrong.
No, you may not.
Oh, you bitch.
No, I'm cutting you off.
Okay. So something about oceans and I don't remember the rest.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Come on.
Fear of sea creatures?
It's just fear of fish.
Oh, fear of fish.
Come on, man.
Sorry. Wait, why am I saying sorry? No, I'm not sorry.
Right.
Like I tried it.
You've got it right for the most part. Yeah, the Ichthyosaurus is a big giant.
It's a
fish creature.
It's a big deal, and it's a big beer here.
It was a fossil from a long time ago. It's an old one.
Oh, the icky! I knew how to spell it before you even told me.
Yeah, well, like I said, I thought you might get this one without even getting the hint.
I didn't. I'm sorry. I let you. So,
and it relates to our topic for today.
Oh shit!
Which is the fear of sharks, which is a fun one. We are close to 4th of July, Midsommar. It's time to get to the beach.
Midsommar.
Time to do some swimming around in the ocean. And we decided to do sharks because this is a good midsummer kind of a topic, you know?
Yeah.
Jaws was a 4th of July movie. Also a summer release. So
what a better way to celebrate.
So we are going to talk about fear of sharks and we're also going to talk about Jaws, of course. What better movie? And then we're also going to dive into the freaking bazillion CGI cheesy ass C movie, not even B movie, C movies.
C or D minus.
That are shark movies.
Like,
they are.
Like maybe
there
they
is
have to
a
repeat.
plethora. I did not realize how many there were, and I didn't even exhaust the list.
And you spent a long time.
Very long. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into our phobia for today, which is, do you know how to pronounce it?
Selachophobia?
Is it ch or k?
It's a selachophobia.
So it is a CH. The CH is pronounced and it's not k? Because I was wondering. I didn't look it up. I should have. Well, let's go with that. Selachophobia. Hey, Kris.
Hey, Drew.
Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast?
Why, yes, I have.
When we were trying to get this podcast off the ground, we had a lot of questions. Like, how do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen to? How do we make money podcasting? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now just by reading this ad.
Right now?
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now?
That means if you want to get a podcast going and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. Join me and Kris and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. We can't wait to hear your podcast. All right, how you doing?
Good.
You ready to tell us about this phobia?
Absolutely.
The fear of sharks.
I am ready to defend
Dun-it.
the shark name.
Defend the shark name?
Defend the shark name.
They
really
need
rap,
defending.
man.
They got some pretty big ass teeth. I don't think they need defending. I
They
think
got
they're all
some
right.
big ass teeth, but they got big ass hearts too, and people be trampling all over them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The poor little sharks.
Yeah. They might be cold blooded, but their hearts are warm.
Oh.
You'll learn. The
more
Now
you know. All right, tell us about Selachophobia.
Well, okay.
You gotta tell us about the fear of it before you start defending the little monsters.
I will. I'll wrap
The little
wrap
water monsters.
The little water monsters could be a house monster.
We'll
We'll find that out
We're not
later.
there yet.
So really, when we look at it, the fear of sharks is not irrationally based. I mean, predatory fish are scary.
They are.
It's not a weird thing for us to be alarmed by these things. However, out of the 465 known species, from the 7-inch pygmy spined to the 50-foot whale shark, only about 10 are even remotely dangerous to humans. But we know that phobias are irrational levels of fear regarding specific things. So with this, it has to be some sort of a learned fear or an adaptive fear that pairs with an emotion. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. But really, it's a survival mechanism. And
well, yeah, when you see big things and sharp things and dangerous
sharp,
things,
fast in the water where you're not
whether
very
in or out
fast.
of the water, right? I mean, that's
true.
true on land too, right? I mean, we see,
Tigers,
a big mountain lion. We kind of instinctively know, like, stay away from that thing.
Yeah.
It's going to maul your eyeballs out.
I don't have claws. I don't have any sort of protective mechanisms unless you have, a weapon on you. But, big predatory things are scary. And really, sharks got a bad rap and an increased phobia right around the time that Jaws came around.
Sure.
And National Geographic has a big article about that. So really, the fear of sharks is a learned fear that's paired with our emotions. And as we know, the brain processes information in two ways. So the brain is, number one, hardwired to respond to feelings first and thoughts second. So big, scary thing, sharp teeth can kill me. Emotion, fear.
Right.
Run away.
Right.
Alarm. Scared.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they are big and fast and mean in the water and kill things and stuff like that. Like, they're a predator. They are them, and we are prey when we are in the water with them.
Right.
Or can be.
Exactly. And so the second thing we know about how the brain processes information is that over time, our brain responds more with feelings than with thinking, especially with things that are familiar. So we tend to respond more with feelings when we've responded with feelings to something already. So we feel very strongly about our fear of sharks. So strongly that, in fact, when I was a kid and I saw Jaws, I had fears of sharks coming up through my bathtub, and just swallowing the bathtub whole, or being in the pool, or things like that. That are completely irrational.
Well, our youngest, when he watched Jaws for the first time, because we're bad parents, so he was like 5 probably, or 6. He didn't want to go in the lake. He didn't want to go swim in the lake, like Lake
sharks.
Tahoe and stuff like that. Eventually we convinced him, like, dude, trust us. I don't care what all those CGI movies tell you there are no sharks in this lake.
And that's all emotion-based thinking, like,
even though there's like 50 movies with sharks and lakes.
That is terrifying. And it's really tough to kind of separate the facts from that emotion sometimes. Our brain gets lazy. We have like cases of the lazy brain, which is where our brain, where our brain naturally kind of creates a bunch of mental shortcuts that allow it to kind of rapidly judge situations and make decisions without us even realizing it, because it takes calories to think. And so your brain is trying to do things in the fastest, most efficient way possible. And so if there's water and I've seen a shark in water, that means sharks can be in water. That means sharks can be in that water. That
means danger, Will Robinson.
That means danger water.
Danger water.
But, we find that like with Bader and colleagues at Chapman University, they found that the more familiar a person is with any sort of risk, they're more likely to decrease in that fear over time as they learn it. So think about folks that maybe live in Florida. They may not be as fearful of shark attacks as, say someone from Nevada that doesn't encounter sharks a whole lot,
also
or isn't educated by it.
So for example, me, right? So I grew up in San Clemente, California, which is like surf capital USA. Like Surfing Magazine are based out of my old hometown. I was on the surf team in high school. I surfed from the time I was, 5 years old, probably. And so I was in the water all the time. I was in the ocean all the time. And I never really, and you're also, when you're a kid and you're kind of a teenager and a kid, you kind of are, you don't think about, you don't think about your mortality. Yeah, you're a little fearless too. But I actually got circled by sharks one time down at San Onofre. I was actually just north of San Onofre. I was with some buddies, and we were out early. It was like 6:30 in the morning or 7 in the morning, and we had paddled out, and we were the only three guys as far as you could see, like north, south. There was no other surfers out, just us. And we saw, and it was normal to see dolphins consistently, cruising around. It was normal to see a sea lion pop up or, whatever. So it wasn't that weird to see things in the water, here and there. But all of a sudden we saw fins, just like, total Jaws moment, full on just fins out of the water, and more than one. There was 3 of them, in fact.
Ooh, they teamed up.
There was 3 of them, in fact. And they were,
do you know what kind of sharks?
I'm almost 100% certain they were blue sharks. Okay. And I believe they were juveniles, probably like 6-7 feet, which is still,
big and
bigger
scary.
than me.
Yeah, at that time, yeah.
And they circled us just like you see in a cartoon. They literally circled us. And luckily there was a set coming in, and I hopped on a wave, and I was the first one on the beach. I was like cartoon, out of the water, and the other 2 guys didn't get that wave. I like paddled for it and hopped on it, man. And they missed the wave. So I watched them from the beach, and I watched a wave come up, and I could see the full length of 2 of the sharks in the wave.
Oh my gosh.
Right by them. And I was like, oh shit. And they managed to get in, and they never attacked them, but they will attack. Even sharks, even blue sharks or sharks that are not normal, don't normally attack, or you don't hear about them attacking. Sure. They'll attack as well. So it was pretty freaky.
If they think that anything could potentially attack them or could be a source of food, they're going to go after it.
But I was always more scared of the seals, man. Those things are gnarly.
Right. And they'll
bite your stinking ankles.
They will go after you.
Well, and sharks will too. There's always, the girl who got her arm bit off in Hawaii.
Sure.
I think she was in Hawaii. The Bethany Hamilton, arm bit off while she was surfing. And now she's like a top professional female surfer. With one arm, which is crazy.
It hasn't kept her out of the water. And that's where, Bader says that, that familiarity, it didn't keep you out of the water because you knew, sharks are a part of what we do here. And this is what you do, if sharks circle you and, you don't
it's also
do this
rare.
And this. And it's also
very rare. It's, in all the years of 18 years of whatever surfing consistently, that was the only time that I ever saw a shark in the water.
Like every day.
And I was out, 4 or 5 days a week at least. And only time I ever saw a shark in the water. Saw sand sharks and things like that, but down in the shallows, but that's just normal stuff. Never ever saw another shark after that in the water.
Same.
So,
and it's that kind of
very rare.
Yeah, it's that kind
although I will say, sorry to interrupt again, but San Clemente is now infested with great whites.
Right.
For the last few years, they've been having great whites, big ones too.
A little bit more inland,
more inland, way more. We
never.
When I was growing up, you never ever heard of great whites in that area in Southern California, and now every summer now they are having big shark issues. San Clemente Pier, I think last week just spotted a big one right off the pier. My nephews and nieces are down there, and they're all junior lifeguards, and it's freaky because they got great whites down there now, which they never did. And I think some of it, I heard that after the power plant in Japan melted down, that it changed migration patterns of all of the Pacific Ocean, basically all the Pacific Ocean species. So they all kind of moved.
Me. If it changed the ecological system near the shore and a little bit farther off from that everything would kind of shift. And also with global warming, things have kind of shifted as well. But it's that increased media coverage too that increases that kind of fear of shark attacks, where yes, sharks are coming more inland. Yes, there's a bunch of sharks out there, but how prevalent is it really to get attacked by a shark? How many people versus how many people get attacked? Overall.
Well, and a lot of it has to do with your locale too. Like, I mean, if you're in Australia, it's an issue. If you're in South Africa, it's a big issue.
You have to be aware. And there are precautions that you can take, which one of them, as you were speaking, you were saying you guys were out at 6 and 7 in the morning. And one of the things that I read from Australia on shark awareness was May through September, only fish are swimming and fishing and surfing between the hours of 9 and 5.
Right. Because dark hours, especially nighttime, you never want to be in the water at night. Yep. In those areas.
And you never want to wear bright clothing or shiny things. They're very attracted to shiny things. You don't want to swim near piers or near people that are fishing, because that's where sharks tend to be, right? And they were seen by the pier in San Clemente as well. So, really, there's only about, on average, 5 deaths a year related to shark attacks. And so that's really low comparatively. And a lot of that is due to shark education and awareness, and the facts that they don't always go seeking out people. I mean, for the most part, they just want to go about their day and do their thing, So, well,
they're attracted. I mean, they're going to try to find food source, and
so they're going to escape something that they think is dangerous.
It's dangerous, sure. But I think a lot of times, especially with surfers, I mean, you look like a seal, dude. I mean, you're out there, especially if it's cold water, which a lot of times great whites, that's where they hang out. Let's say, you're surfing in the Bay Area in San Francisco when water's 45 degrees and you're wearing a big old full wetsuit with a hoodie.
You look like a seal, bro.
And you got your black, wetsuit hanging out over your surfboard. You look like a seal. I mean, you
can't help. I mean,
it is what it is.
They got tiny pea brains, and they're, prehistoric dinosaurs, basically.
It's instinct and instinct alone.
Exactly. So really, when we look at kind of the short bites on the fear,
that was bad.
I know,
really bad.
So good. It can be summed up with 3 things. The reason why folks are afraid of sharks is, number one, something called the availability heuristic, which Kahneman suggests that it is basically just a bunch of mental shortcuts in the brain that help keep us safe, right? Hot things are hot, sharp things are sharp.
Right.
Don't,
there's a natural instinct that says this is bad, stay away from it.
Right, exactly. With the addition of emotions, which are quite wired, excuse me, in us at birth, we're wired to make emotional decisions from birth in order to help keep us alive. And that's part of that lazy piece of shit brain that I talked about earlier, and the mental emotional shortcuts, plus the brutality of the method of death.
It's pretty brutal.
Those 3 things.
It's pretty brutal.
Combined lead us to that intense kind of fear of sharks, whether it be on any end of the spectrum of fear. And the method of death is interesting because when asked, what's scarier, death by heart attack or shark? What do you say?
I mean, shark.
right? You would think that. And that's very emotion based. But when you think deeply about it, it's easier to be afraid of sharks than it is to be afraid of the slow, painful, inevitable death by 1,000 decisions
Damn.
daily made.
Way to bring us down.
Exactly. Than it is.
Yeah, of course.
You know.
I mean, I think, most of the time shark attacks are going to be fast.
Right.
They can be painful and
I mean, they're always going to be brutal,
but they could be very quick too. I was thinking about beyond Jaws nowadays, with Shark Week on Discovery Channel or whatever it is.
They get a week.
Well, and you see like how they attack seals and how they attack
how
powerful they are. They play with them and they throw them back and forth. They do all these crazy shit.
Well, we perceive that they play with them.
Well, I think orcas probably do that more than because we know they're much more intelligent.
But for some reason, we don't perceive orcas as dangerous or as deadly to us as we perceive sharks.
Well, and they're higher on the food chain, really.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a video on YouTube. I gotta remember where it was, off the coast of California, but it was a pod of, it was a killer whale versus a great white video where they caught it on camera
head to fucking head
of them going at each other. It was pretty fucking crazy.
That's nuts.
But I love that shit. And you do too. You love Shark Week and love watching all that stuff.
It's amazing to see these top predators, something that for 450 million years has spent at the top of the food chain in the sea. Over those million years, they developed 3 extra senses, which include vibration sensing, pressure sensing, and electrical pulse sensing.
Well, especially when you add in the megalodon.
Yeah, right. And the ability to fly in tornadoes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And apparently, we'll go just about anywhere according to all of the amazing shark movies that are out there.
It defies facts, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's just they're magical creatures apparently.
Well, I mean, the reality is that sharks are not a threat to us. Sharks are not a large threat to us. In fact, they serve a really crucial ecosystem service. Knocking an apex predator off of the food chain is like cutting a leg from a dinner table, and that would create a serious
domino effect,
oceanic dystopia. Think about like how when wolves were taken out of Yellowstone,
right,
and how they had to be reintroduced because the ecosystem was
the deer population
thrown
just
off.
blew up, and all the things that they're supposed to, that those wolves were keeping in check.
Exactly.
And that was a big concern, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but of Peter Benchley, the guy who wrote Jaws. He really was concerned about that after the movie came out and everything, because he ended up becoming a big shark and conservation activist. And I think he may even be an oceanographer now, or at least works in kind of that area. But that was a big deal because after Jaws, there was a major scare about sharks. There was a lot of, anti-shark stuff.
National Geographic wrote a report on how Jaws basically created this influx of fear related to sharks. And I mean, there are so many different ways to die, like more common ways to die than of a shark attack. For instance.
Oh, go for it.
I have top 10 things more likely to try and kill you than a shark.
Top 10 things more likely to kill you than a shark.
Woo!
Boop.
Number 1.
Top 10 things more likely to kill you than a shark. Sorry.
A dog bite. Getting infected is more likely to kill you than a shark. Number 2, fireworks. Number 3, a tornado.
With sharks in it?
With sharks in it. Number 4, falling coconuts.
Damn.
Those coconuts are beastly.
Well, we don't have to worry about that here.
An asteroid, more likely to kill you.
No way.
An asteroid.
No, that can't be right.
A fragment of a rock.
A fragment of a space rock?
Yep.
No way. Is that real? Are you sure about that?
I'll tell you the statistic. Hold on. Global warming. It's more likely to kill you. It kills more people every year.
It's a myth,
Well, I mean, just heat kills more people every year. A bitey person on the subway. Because
a bitey person on the subway?
Because staph infection's a real thing, y'all.
People bite you on the subway?
Yes, biting on the subway is a thing. Legal execution is number 10. You are more likely to die of a legal execution than of a shark.
What?
Yep. You have a 1 in 3,748,067 chance of being killed by a shark.
Well, so the question I would have about those
and you
statistics,
have a 1 in 1,134 chance of drowning.
Well, that makes sense. But what about if you live on if you just let's say you just take all the people that don't live on coastal areas where there are sharks, wouldn't the problem, obviously if you're going to be if you're in the water, 5 days a week, your probability of getting eaten by a shark is a hell of a lot higher than somebody who only visits the beach once every 5 years.
Done the research, but I would be
break down those stats.
I would be willing to imagine that it probably exists somewhere on a bell curve, with the majority of people falling somewhere in the middle of not really having very much access to shark infested waters very frequently, and then some people never having access to shark
those stats are
water.
Based on total population, I would guess.
It is, of course. That's why I'm saying it probably exists somewhere in a bell curve.
So, hey, listen up, Nebraska.
You
don't have much of a chance of getting hit by a shark in the water, but just wait till those Sharknadoes come.
Well, with the rate that sharks are being killed for things like shark fin soup, especially in the booming Asian economy.
So fucked up.
One bowl of shark fin soup can go for $100, and fishermen will throw back finless shark bodies.
So messed up.
Because there's no use for
them.
We
were just talking about that. I was just talking about that with Michelle, our friend Michelle, she's a scuba diver. In fact, they're getting ready to go dive down on the Channel Islands in California.
I hope they.
She was just talking about, because we were talking about this episode, and she loves sharks.
She's very passionate about sharks.
And we were talking about the finning thing and the taking those fins off. That's just so messed up. I cannot understand that at all.
And it's all for just a bowl of soup.
It's ridiculous.
So,
well, it's supposed to be virility or something too, isn't it? Isn't there something about the fin or something?
I'm sure, culturally there's something there, but
it's nuts.
It's really, like I said, killing an apex predator. It's like taking a leg off a table. It's, that ecosystem is going to be shot and completely sideways if we can't figure out how to right it. So, fish are friends, not food. We learned that from Shark Tales, I think it was.
That's right. No, I think it was Finding Nemo.
It was Finding Nemo, yeah, not Shark Tales, but that was another cute shark kids movie. But so, folks, I'll wrap that up. That's the fear of sharks.
Yeah. So, I think, again, like you said, there's this innate kind of fear in us, and I think the ocean brings its own fears because it's I was out
terrifying.
I was out kayak fishing in Monterey a few months ago with a buddy, and out on the water, and we went out past the surf, and Monterey, if you know anything about it, there's just a real sharp drop off, very close. So the what's the shelf called? The
Continental Shelf?
Yeah, but it's the Mariana Trench, right?
I think so.
Isn't that right? Anyway, the trench runs right there. That's why Monterey Bay Aquarium is so amazing, and there's so much amazing aquatic life around Monterey area.
Because it goes from shallow to deep.
Shallow to deep. Quickly. It drops straight off, right? So we're out, and we weren't even out to the shelf, but you could see it. It wasn't far out. You literally could see where the water goes black. So it's less than a mile off the shore. But we were out in about 60 feet, 50 feet fishing, and just looking down, and it's just so, and I grew up on the ocean, but even I was like, man, it's been a while since I've been out here.
Yeah.
It is just black.
There's nothing.
You just have no idea what's going to come up from underneath you.
And that's, I think, part of what contributes to it.
There's so much mystery and unknown. And I think when
power.
When people are in the ocean, it's an unfamiliar place.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of fear, and that's why sharks have spawned a million freaking horror movies, which we're going to talk about because they are so many. And and I got to say,
as fuck,
there are not very many good ones.
No,
not very many.
No, we wasted a lot of time this week on bad ones.
Oh man, they're so good though.
They're so bad. They're good.
So good. So let's dive into our dive in.
Hoyo.
To some honorable mentions, and I'm going to have a whole plethora of them. So just strap in, put your scuba tank on.
You're going to need a bigger boat, guys.
You're going to need a bigger boat because we got a lot of fucking movies to go through right here.
Yep.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's get into our honorable mentions. So I had no idea how prolific shark horror was as a category.
Such a rabbit hole.
As a category, I did not realize like it beats out damn near every other movie in horror that you can think of. I mean, I would venture to say there might be more shark horror than slashers. I don't know. I could be wrong, but holy shit, man, it's insane. Like you go down the shark rabbit hole, you ain't getting out. It's gnarly.
And you went down that rabbit hole.
I did this week. And I think I'm a better man for it. I think I've learned a lot about myself through this process. Cause we all know, like there is the what am I hearing? Is that a plane?
There's a plane outside.
Oh, I thought it was a phone buzzing. Huh. Plane, loud plane outside. There's a plethora of like decent shark movies. Not many, but there's a handful. I mean, Deep Blue Sea was pretty good, kind of cheesy too, but it was a good shark movie. Like it was, it was a good blockbuster. It was pretty, it was entertaining. Didn't have like LL Cool J in it.
Yeah.
So that's an extra 10 points.
Wasn't he also an Anaconda though?
Probably. Yeah, there was a while there where LL Cool J was popping up in all kinds of shit. Wasn't he in like Halloween H2O?
I don't know.
He was in a bunch of those. And then you had like movies like Mako Jaws of Death, The Meg, which just came out like last year.
The kids loved.
And The Meg was pretty good. It was entertaining. It was, again, big giant, and this Meg, and The Meg was kind of like a cross between like Jurassic Park and Jaws,
right.
With a lot of CG and a lot of, just good fun.
Oh my God. I just realized that in the last Jurassic Park, there's an ichthyosaurus. That's the one that comes out of the pond.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It just connected for me, you guys. Yeah. You witnessed it.
That's true. There you go.
Shit, sorry.
Boom.
Okay. Anyways.
Should have known it.
You said Jurassic World and I was like, oh.
But then you had like Open Water. Did you see Open Water? That's the freakiest fucking movie ever. That movie gives me panic just thinking about it. And I don't think I've ever rewatched it. I've only watched it once. They're on a scuba diving excursion and they go out.
Oh no, you've told me this one. They get left.
Yes, and they get left. Their boat leaves them basically out in the middle of the ocean. And then they get circled by sharks and it's gnarly. And there's Open Water 2, which I have not seen. Open Water 2 Cage Dive.
Oh wow. That's
The Reef, which is a good one. I believe that's an Australian flick. 47 Meters Down, which I haven't watched yet, which I need to. It's fairly new. It's a couple years ago. But point is, there's a couple. The Shallows with what the heck's that chick's name? Blake Lively. I think she's the star of it.
I feel like if you've seen one shark movie,
but yeah, so that those were all like decent movies. They all had, and I'm sure there's a bunch more that were higher than B grade quality movies, but I am pretty certain that shark movies and CGI were created just so we could enjoy amazing, bonkers ass shark horror. And of course, resurrect the careers of like 80s pop stars like Debbie Gibson and Tiffany, because they were in like a slew of those like Sci-Fi Channel shark movies and former members of the Dukes of Hazzard, because you had like John Snyder popping up in a bunch of them.
C movies, C stars, they go hand in hand.
If B movie stars, I was thinking about this. I had this written down. If B movie stars had a logo, it would be a 6-headed shark.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think they have that all tattooed on them somewhere.
But I am so thankful and so grateful. Whatever the reason that we have so many, I am so grateful that that we have such groundbreaking flicks as, are you ready for this?
No.
Are you ready for this list?
No.
Okay. This is the list that this is all that I could come up. This is only the ones when I like ran out of, and I was like, you know what? I can't do anymore.
I have to cut myself off.
I have to cut myself off. But I just started listing all of the shark horror, B-movie horror flicks. So are you ready for this list?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We have Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus.
Oh, yeah.
Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark. Ghost Shark.
What?
Ghost Shark 2.
That's terrifying.
Ghost Shark 2. Urban Jaws.
What?
Malibu Shark Attack. Avalanche Sharks.
Malibu. Hold on. You skimmed past that one.
Oh, I'm skimming. I gotta skim. Trust me, there's a lot. Malibu Shark Attack. Avalanche Shark.
Wait,
Zombie Sharks. You keep interrupting. I've got to go. You gotta trust me. I gotta go. I gotta go through this list. We can't stop.
Just so bonkers.
Don't worry. I have a top list. Okay. I have a top list. We'll get into some of these. All right. So let me go back. Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark. Ghost Shark 2, Urban Jaws. Malibu Shark Attack. Avalanche Sharks. Zombie Sharks. Bait. Shark Swarm, featuring Daryl Hannah and John Snyder, with a runtime of 2 hours and 47 minutes.
What?
2 hours and 47 minutes.
How dare they?
Shark Swarm, 2 hours and 47 minutes of John Snyder and Daryl Hannah.
Wow.
Okay, just had to bring that one up. Shark Attack 2, Shark Attack 3, Megalodon. Jurassic Shark, Shark Lake. Psycho Shark, Jaws in Japan.
Jaws in Japan?
Megalodon. That was a Megalodon. Shark Attack 3 Megalodon is different than just Megalodon. Okay. Those are different movies. Super Shark, Shark Zone, Sand Sharks, Jersey Shore, Shark Attack, Ice Sharks.
Do you think that the sharks on the Jersey Shore all have like fake tanner around their mouths?
Oh yeah, they're all super orange. Ice Sharks, Raging Sharks, Blue Demon, Shark Knight, Hammerhead, Sharkman.
Shit. These are terrible.
That's the same movie, by the way. Hammerhead.
Sharkman?
Sharkman. Dark Waters, Two-Headed Shark Attack, Five-Headed Shark Attack.
Wait, no.
Six-Headed Shark Attack. Yes, all separate movies.
Someone was like, you know what's better than 5-minute abs?
Mm-hmm.
6-minute abs.
That's right.
You know it's better than
Two-Headed Shark. We did so damn well with that Two-Headed Shark Attack. That made us like $60,000. We're going to,
five fucking heads.
We're going 5 heads. 5 heads on that shark. If two-headed sharks
2 times 2 is 5, Bob.
Can eat tandem water skiers, which I believe happens in that movie.
Oh no.
Oh yes, the 2 heads come out and eat tandem water skiers. I'm pretty certain.
Ideas are these?
5-headed sharks can eat 5 water skiers at once. Pretty sure.
Folks, you can achieve your dreams if these good movies got made.
And finally, Empire of the Sharks, which I actually watched about half of, which was it was like a cheesy water world where sharks are controlled basically by a Nintendo Power Glove.
Oh, neat.
So like a guy's got like a Nintendo Power Glove and he can just like push them over and like make them do things.
Wow.
And the sharks jump and eat people at his command with his Nintendo Power Glove.
Oh, that's weird.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's pretty money.
How do they do it?
But I did come up with a top 7 greatest. I did not include all of them. There's 7 more. And these were my top 7. My top 7 greatest shitty shark movies of all time.
Shitty shark?
Shitty shark. Shitty shark movies. This is my top 7. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. My number 7, Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus. Ooh. Now, we had the other Mega Shark movies versus Crocosaurus but this was the one that started it all with Lorenzo Lamas and Debbie Gibson.
I have to argue that the shark would not have a chance against the octopus. The octopus is a far superior creature of intelligence and intellect.
Well, these were prehistoric. So what happened was strange thing. Let me give you a little bit of the synopsis here. Strange things are afoot in the depths of the sea. First, a passenger plane vanishes over the Pacific Ocean. Then an oil platform is obliterated.
As they do.
Marine biologist Emma McNeil is dispatched to investigate the phenomena, and with the help of Japanese scientist Seiji Shimada, she She makes a discovery that will rock the world.
So that is dispatched, a marine biologist.
An enormous prehistoric shark and a giant octopus have been awakened from their icy slumbers, and they're hungry. Plus, a massive great white biting through the Golden Gate Bridge? Sign me up. Literally jumps up and bites through the Golden Gate Bridge.
Wow.
Jumps up out of the water, bites through the Golden Gate Bridge right in half.
So the Golden Gate Bridge is like...
It's high.
6
and
lanes.
It's big. This is a big ass shark.
Okay.
All right. These are prehistoric animals fighting it out. So
Epic.
Pretty epic, but not as epic as number 6.
Oh.
Planet of the Sharks. In the near future, glacial melting has covered 98% of Earth's landmass. Sharks have flourished and now dominate the planet, operating as one massive school led by a mutated alpha shark.
I mean, that's terrifying.
The human survivors live in terror of the predators, and it's up to a few survivors to take down the alpha shark and make the seas safe again.
I mean, we're not exactly built for water, so yeah.
Planet of the Sharks, man.
Water world, that's scarier.
I don't know.
It's coming, y'all.
Pretty crazy.
Global warming.
Never know. Gonna cover the whole Earth.
Yeah.
I, for one, welcome our shark overlords.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, basically,
Shark Week. Shark Week.
Isn't that basically like the? I mean, I don't know. I welcome our shark overlords.
Sharks for president.
And then we have number 5, land shark. Land shark.
Land shark.
Oh my God! You can't tell me this woman was killed by falling out of a tree. What is it? Land shark. Cleverest species of them all. Oh my God.
Who is it?
Land shark.
Oh, Walter. Land shark.
Wait, that had nothing to do with this movie.
Land shark.
Which somehow, this movie is somehow actually more ridiculous than the SNL clip.
Well, that's because that SNL clip is fantastic.
It is. And I think there's probably a greater chance of having a shark just knock on your door and eat you
Housekeeping.
than the plot of this movie.
Singing telegram.
Postman.
Milkman.
Special delivery.
Special delivery.
So land shark, when Linda Regis at Malco Oceanic Research unravels a sinister plot to inject sharks with human DNA in the hope of creating a super shark super soldier, she becomes the target. The target. She becomes the target of a dangerous killer.
Target.
Meanwhile, Malco's DNA-enhanced sharks, having discovered a way to slip past security, the sharks have discovered a way to slip past security.
Well, they're bio-enhanced.
In case you didn't catch that. The DNA-enhanced sharks, having discovered a way to slip past security, are busy honing their newly enhanced killer instincts, both in and out of the nearby beaches. This is the one where we have to thank Simpsons, the dolphin episode where they become sentient and take over Springfield. I'm pretty sure that's kind of the basis of Land Shark.
Well, in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the dolphins were the sentient beings.
That's right. That's right. Mm. But that's only 3. We've got our number 4. We've done 7, 6, and 5. Are you ready for number 4?
Mm-hmm.
Shark Exorcist.
Wow. We are reaching.
Satan has jaws. Yes, it says that. That's the first line of the synopsis. Satan has jaws. A demonic nun unleashes holy hell when she summons the devil to possess a great white shark. The only thing more terrifying than a shark in the sea is a shark in a she.
Whoever writes these deserves an award.
A shark in a she.
A shark in a she.
Yeah, that's a line. That's a line.
Good grief.
From the trailer.
Wow.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Possession. Shark possession. It's a thing. It's a thing. Satan has jaws.
Did you watch that one?
I did not. No, I did not get down that rabbit hole. But I did watch this next one.
Oh.
I did watch this one because I was actually quite intrigued by the trailer. I really enjoyed it. This one is 2015's Piranha Sharks. Great white sharks bioengineered to be the size of piranhas. Think Micro Machine sharks.
What?
Yeah, like mini
Tiny
sharks.
animal. Oh my god! What if you could have tiny animal pets?
Little baby
what
pets.
Tiny animal
Yeah,
pet
that was
would you
their
have?
idea.
I
That
would
was
have
the
like
point.
a tiny giraffe.
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine like a tiny elephant?
A little tiny elephant.
Like a little tiny shark.
It would be
your
pretty
tank?
money.
Until
So great white sharks bioengineered to be the size of piranhas with the purpose of living in rich people's exotic aquariums.
Uh-oh.
Terrorize New York City when they get into the water
New
supply.
York City.
And do what great white sharks do best. Kill. Which is a misnomer. They're okay. We like the sharks.
They
Don't kill the sharks.
They kill for food.
There was one scene. So there was one great scene.
Was it a great white scene?
Oh, man. Wait, hold on. We got a clip of this, don't we? Didn't I do a clip?
I think so.
Oh, here. Let's play the clip.
People love sharks.
Love them.
We bring sharks into your home.
Just like sea monkeys.
Sea monkeys.
Sea monkeys.
Did you know that sea monkeys bring in $25 million a year in revenue and have for almost 50 years?
You want to sell an advanced bioweapon to children at Walmart?
No,
No.
that would be stupid.
So Piranha Sharks. So I watched it a little bit, and the one scene I was kind of dozing off when I was watching it, but there's a scene where these sharks have gotten into the water system, right? So this girl's filling up her bathtub, like think like
Think
Freddie,
like my nightmare when I was a child.
yeah, just filling up
Sharks?
the bathtub, whatever. And she's just laying there and got her legs spread, and, just doing her thing, right? Just laying in the bathtub like normal, kind
As
of
you do in
kind
the
of like
bathtub.
kind of like in
But kind of
Nightmare
like
on Elm
more-
Street, where her legs
Kind of
are
like
up.
more sensual than you normally do. In
Just
a
her
normal bath.
just her legs are up, like in Nightmare on Elm Street when she's just sitting in
Yeah,
the
when-
bathtub, right? And these sharks come through. It shows them coming in the water, coming through the water
Through the
and going
pipes?
through the pipes. And
There'd be
they're
so
little
much
tiny.
air
They're
in
little
those
tiny, and they're
pipes.
all got big old jaws. And they come through, and then all of a sudden you just see her just like, what? Huh? And like feels a bite, and then just the whole tub fills up with blood.
Jesus.
Piranha sharks.
Ruining baths.
All right, but that's not all, folks. You think that might be all, but it's not.
Blee, 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 blee. That's not all, folks.
Number 2, Sharkenstein.
Oh, no.
2016. These have all been made in the last few years, too, which is even more
What
hilarious.
is it? Yeah.
Sharkenstein. In the final days
Are
of
you sure it's not Sharkenstein?
In the final days of World War II, a secret experiment to weaponize sharks is shut down and destroyed by the Third Reich. But now, 60 years later, a small ocean town is plagued by a bloodthirsty, mysterious creature, one built and reanimated using parts of the greatest killers to ever inhabit the sea, the Sharkenstein monster.
What the hell was that thing? Sharkenstein. Whatever.
And basically, we've got Nazi sharks. That's kind of what we're looking at here, I think.
Yeah, that whole
Nazi
synopsis
sharks,
lost
I mean,
me.
come on, man. Why not?
Why do they have to be Nazis?
None of those, though, are as good as our number one choice. Number 1 on our list, 2018's House Shark. Here's the synopsis. When Frank finds his happy home under attack by a dangerous but largely unknown breed of shark, he enlists the aid of the world's only house shark expert. Can't even read it. And a grizzled former real estate agent to embark on a desperate quest to destroy the beast and claim back his life.
Because that's what you need is a real estate agent.
It's Jaws, but in a house.
It was some kind of freak suction built up in the pipes from the waste station.
But what did the coroner say? What did he write at first? He said it looked like a shark attack.
Shark! House shark!
That's your song for the fast time. The house shack. In the blackest of eyes. Cold and dark. Like a porn star's anus before it's bleached.
That was a big mama jama tooth. I need to think.
I'll catch this nugget for you. But it ain't gonna be easy. Bad fish or mammal or sharky thing.
House shark!
So what's the plan?
We're gonna have to go in there.
In the house?
Well, we're not gonna find the house shack in a mall. We're trying the mall shack in a mall, but we're looking for a house shack. Not on my watch! Pinch it off, Frank!
Get out the way!
Don't wait for me! Shut him off! Shut us down!
It's got the blackest of eyes, like a porn star's anus before it's been bleached. Not going to find a house shark in a mall. Find a mall shark in a mall. We're looking for a house shark.
A real estate agent and a house shark expert.
Well, yeah. Who's going to help you with the house shark? But
when you have a house
real
shark
estate agent,
problem.
house shark expert. Hello.
But what if you have a mall shark in your house?
That might be the greatest thing I've ever heard. I haven't watched House Shark yet, but I feel like I need to. I kind of feel like I need to. That's not even our main honorable mention for today, but
Wow.
I felt like we had to get kind of a sense of what these shark movies have done for us in the world of horror and what is out there that you can watch. You can go onto if you have Amazon Prime, you could literally spend the next 3 weeks just watching shark
Don't
horror
do it,
movies.
folks. That would
You
be
should
unhealthy.
do it. I really think you should.
That'd be really unhealthy.
I think it's a wonderful idea. I think you should do it. I was like, I just put in shark and I was like blown away by how many fucking movies popped up. It was insane. But our honorable mention for a day, and we're not going to play the trailer. We're not going to play the clip because basically I just wanted to make this our honorable mention because it's kind of the king of these types of movies.
It's the creme de la creme.
Right? I mean, and it's not the first. It's not the latest.
It's not
but
the last.
it's the most memorable, I think, for most people. It's really everybody's introduction to bonkers, crazy ass shark movies, and that's 2013's Sharknado.
Sharknado.
And the synopsis is very simple: nature's deadliest killer takes to the skies in the ultimate guilty pleasure as a group of friends try to save the Santa Monica coast from shark-infested tornadoes. And we know this one. We don't need to say much about it. We got Ian Ziering from 90210 fame, and Tara Reid from really bad boob job nip slip fame.
Is that all she's known for now?
I mean,
Not
that's what I
her
remember her the
amazing acting
most.
skills.
Was she in American Pie?
Yeah.
Tara Reid? I think she was in
so.
some of those movies.
See, that's how amazing her acting is. We're not sure if she was
Oh,
in
poor
some
Tara
of those
Reid.
movies.
We love you, Tara Reid. I hope you're listening. But I hope she got her boobs fixed because they were pretty bad. She got a really bad boob job. And I think she was on a lot of drugs back then,
Well,
too.
they can't all be good.
It was bad.
Statistically.
But they joined forces to defeat the shark tornado and save the greater LA area from impending shark doom.
Well, thanks, Tara Reid.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. The greater LA area could use a Sharknado, right?
I wouldn't mind.
Little-
I mean, a little thinning out of the population.
Well, just a little excitement, something new, something different, No more earthquakes. Maybe a Sharknado or two.
A Sharknado on top of the earthquakes? I don't know. That's a lot of natural disasters.
That's true. Yeah. Take it easy, God.
Ian Ziering openly admitted that he did not particularly like this script, but he agreed to star in the film anyways for financial reasons. He was about to lose his SAG card and his SAG health insurance, and he was about to have another kid.
Wow.
He had a second kid on the way, and he needed the money. And it turned into a pretty lucrative fucking little deal for him, I think. I mean, they did like 5 of them, and I think he was in like all of them.
Well, it kind of became,
or most of them.
It kind of became a little bit iconic.
It was a cult classic. I mean, they are terrible. I was trying to watch it. The first one, I think the second one was better.
It's just the
second and third ones are better. The first one was pretty rough to watch. It was pretty all over the place.
It's just the idea of it is so absurd and so unique. Like, really? A tornado of sharks?
I mean, what could be more fucking scary though?
That's going to be my Halloween costume next year. I found one.
That's a good idea.
Is you glue like little clouds on you, right? Like little and
little toy sharks.
And then you
like
have fishing line with like bath toy sharks, and then when you spin around, you become the tornado.
Brilliant.
Oh, thanks.
I love
Pinterest.
It. Brilliant. Did you actually see that?
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. So yeah, I kind of see think of Sharknado as the apex of these just CGI crazy shark movies.
The apex predator of the CGI movies.
If you were not aware of this subgenre and how prolific it was, I hope we've given you a good introduction, because it's quite a thing. I was pretty shocked.
It's also kind of all you need to know.
Yeah.
You don't really need to go any further.
Well, and sharks are also a great excuse to see lots of chicks in bikinis, because they're always, there's always a beach, beaches somewhere.
True.
So there's always chicks in thongs, and
way to make it about being women and objects.
Well, it is. Let's face it. B horror movies.
Well,
you got to have certain elements, right? You got to have a certain number of. We've learned this before.
We've learned this. We know the rules.
We know the rules. Roger Corman set up the rules. You got to have a certain amount of boobs.
Well,
you got to have a certain amount and that's what makes these B movies watchable.
Do you think that that's why the B shark movies, they still follow those same rules, and the sharks are the slashers, so to speak, and always kill the girls that are, skimping on the beach and
they kill there really isn't. I was trying to find a formula, but it seems like there's a couple of ones that are like I said, water world kind of ish, where sharks have kind of taken over or are kind of the I don't know, are being controlled by somebody. And then there's the ones where the sharks are like on land, have suddenly
and they're more sentient,
have gone through, and they're like, they can go through the sand.
Well, they did develop 3 extra senses, so
or they're prehistoric and they pop up through under the earth. They come to life under the earth. That's another one. That's another. And then there's ones that are frozen and they come to life. So literally, they have tapped. I think the only thing I haven't seen yet is sharks in space, but I'm guessing it's out there somewhere. I would suspect
reindeer sharks.
So. With that might be the longest honorable mentions we've ever done.
I think so.
But I think it was worth it, because we needed to know about these shark movies. I think it was important. Really, when you get down to it, there's only one shark movie that makes any difference at all.
The king of them all.
And you guys know what that one is. It's 1975's Jaws. And that is our feature presentation.
And now our feature presentation.
There is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the devil and gave him jaws. This is Universal's extraordinary motion picture version of Peter Benchley's best-selling novel, Jaws.
I just found out that a girl got killed here last week. And you knew it. You knew there was a shark out there. You knew it was dangerous, but you let people go swimming anyway.
It's all psychological. You yell barracuda. Everybody says, huh? What? You yell shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Is it true that most people get attacked by sharks in 3 feet of water, about 10 feet from the beach?
Yeah. What we are dealing with here is a perfect engine, an eating machine.
We're not only going to have to close the beach, we're going to have to hire somebody to kill the shark.
Bad fish, but I'll catch him and kill him.
Did you hear your father? Out of the water now!
This shark, swallow you whole.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
That's a 20-footer.
25. 3 tons of them.
Hurry up, he's coming straight for us. Don't screw it up now. Don't wait for me. Now! Shoot! What's he do? Give him room! I can't, he's trying to run! Oh! I can't hold it! Hurry!
None of man's fantasies of evil can compare with the reality of Jaws. Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, Jaws. See it before you go swimming.
All right, the original and undisputed king of all shark movies. I don't think there's really any debate about that.
No, hands down.
It was the first, and it's the best. I mean, it was the first, big budget one that started it all,
It's the greatest.
Quick synopsis. When a young woman is killed by a shark while skinny dipping near the New England tourist town of Amity Island, Police Chief Martin Brody wants to close the beaches, but Mayor Larry Vaughn overrules him, fearing that the loss of tourist revenue will cripple the town. Ichthyologist Matt Hooper, there's that word again, and grizzled ship captain Quint offer to help Brody capture the killer beast, and the trio engage in an epic battle of man versus nature. So, one of the most iconic movies of all time. I think top 10 lists, at least top 20 of all time. I think just movies in general, considered, almost every list that's out there. It's one of the top ones, one of the highest grossing films of all time. At the time it was the highest grossing film. I think over 67 million people in the US went to see the film when it was initially released.
Wow.
Making it the first summer blockbuster. Basically, movies used to be released in the winter, mostly like big budget movies. And they went, basically it took them so long to make the movie that they went over their time, and it ended up being released in the summer. And that was when they put all the shitty movies, and yet it blew up. It just became this huge, massive hit. And grossed over $100 million at the box office in 1975.
And now,
which is crazy money in 1975.
And what's that translate to now?
Well, I think the last time I was listening to the episode, Horror Virgin just did Jaws last week on their show.
Well, it was 4th of July.
4th of July, it's summertime. It's perfect time to do sharks, right? And Jaws takes place over 4th of July.
Right.
But I think there was I didn't write it down, but I think on the show, Todd mentioned that it was like the equivalent of what it's earned, I think total is the equivalent of like 1.1 or 1.2 billion dollars.
Oh my gosh.
If you adjust and do all that stuff. So crazy. Widely considered one of the greatest films of all time, sitting at like 8.0, I think, on IMDb.
Yeah, it's a goat.
It's big time. And it changed the industry, changed the movie industry. Then they realized, oh shit, people will actually go to the movie theaters in the summer, because it used to be, the thought was that people weren't going to go sit inside of a dark theater in the summer. They're out, going outdoors, and they're doing things, and they're at picnics, and they're not going to go to the movies in the summer.
Oh,
they were wrong.
How times have changed.
Exactly.
Now we can't get people outside.
Yeah. So, of course, directed by Steven Spielberg, and written by Peter Benchley. I actually went and bought the book this week. And read most of it. And it's been a really good read. I looked at it and I went, oh man, this is great. I can probably read this in about a week. It's a quick one. I don't read a whole lot, but.
What are some of the differences between the movie and the book that you've noticed?
There's a couple of things in the storyline. So I think when they made the movie, they decided to cut out some of the more
salacious.
So it was a little bit salacious, and it was a little bit, I think, just not relevant to the plot necessarily. If you're just taking the shark as the center of the book or the movie, but in the book, you've got your main characters are Brody, right? He's the chief of police, and his wife Ellen, and then you've got Quint, who's the crusty old sea captain shark hunter. You've got Hooper, who's this out of towner oceanographer or ichthyologist that is a shark expert that comes into town when all this stuff happens, and that's Hooper. And those are really your main characters. Then you have the mayor and you got a few other side characters. But Brody's wife, Ellen, in the book, has an affair with Hooper. So Hooper is an old friend from her childhood. There's this whole kind of backstory about her being an out of towner who
a mainlander
who was wealthy, and she married this kind of islander who's not very wealthy, and he's a police chief. And so there was always this tension about her old life and her current life. Sure. And 3 kids. And so then she meets Hooper, and Hooper is actually the younger brother of an old boyfriend. So they hit it off and they start talking, and then they have an affair. So that's a big storyline that kind of weaves through the book. And then you also have the mayor in the book is involved with the mob, like the mafia is kind of using him just in the real estate business and doing things. And that's why he's so hell bent on opening the beaches. So that actually kind of gives a little bit of that would have given a little bit more depth to the movie, I think, if that was kind of the reason why.
Because he seemed just like a kind of like a flippant jerk. Like, we need summer dollars, Well,
I mean, it's the island, it goes in depth about how the island is reliant on that season,
that economy,
to get them through the winter. If they don't get that money in the summer, people go on welfare in the winter. Like it's that bad. So they need that money to get them through. So, I mean, there's kind of that kind of deal when it comes to the economy of the island of Amity Island and all that kind of stuff. So there's definitely some differences. But the book's great. It's I recommend reading it. It's a quick read. It's like 320 pages or something like that. And it's a real fast read. It's a nice summer read for you. And at the time that the movie came out, the book was the best-selling book on the shelves at the time before the movie came out. So It was already primed and ready. The movie hit like perfect timing. The book nobody expected the book to be this big bestseller, and it was.
And then the movie
just blew up
right along.
And then the movie came and just was perfect, right? Perfect timing. So it just blew up. And of course, so Steven Spielberg directed it. Peter Benchley wrote the book, and he also wrote part of the screenplay with Carl Gottlieb. And then the score of the movie was John Williams, who did Star Wars and Jurassic Park and Harry Potter, one of the most famous movie scorers, composers out there. And gosh, how iconic is Jaws? I mean, as far as the score goes, you hear that music and it instantly, all of it.
Well, we have a cookie jar that it's a shark.
It's a shark.
Head.
Oh, I got to take a picture of that.
It's a shark head, and it has a bit off.
A bite out of it?
A bit off. No, it has a bit off surfboard. And it says cookie jar. And then when you open it, it goes, no, and you open the shark's jaws.
It's John Williams, man.
Yep. And that's still him.
Wonder how much royalties they had to pay.
Just those notes. No.
Yep.
No.
So iconic.
Millions of dollars.
So the movie stars Roy Scheider as Brody, Robert Shaw as Quint, Richard Dreyfuss as Hooper, and Lorraine Gray as Ellen. And there's always been a big debate about Jaws as to, in the horror community, whether or not it's a horror movie. What do you think? Do you think Jaws is a horror movie?
Wait, what else would it be?
Drama, action, thriller, one of those kind of things.
I don't. Fucking 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other.
That's how I always feel.
Who cares, nitpickers?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I've always felt that way about trying to categorize these things. And I'm always in the camp of, yes, it is a horror movie. Does it have, Cujo was a horror movie, right? About a killer dog, and you've got this killer shark, and it's scary. And it's traumatized children from the time they were, it's a scary movie.
Since 1975. Going strong.
So yeah, I think it is a horror movie. I don't think I don't know why it's such a big debate, especially I think it's just because it's not supernatural. It's not anything, there's not a lot of real scary parts, but yeah, I'm with you.
The part where the head comes down in the boat is terrifying.
Oh yeah. The biggest jump scare is definitely Ben Gardner's head popping out from his boat. Which funny story I was reading up, Steven Spielberg, that was not in the original cut. And he decided he wanted to make that more of a scary moment, more of a jump scary moment. So he went back to the studio and said, "Hey, I need to refilm this." And they said, "Nope, sorry, you're done." So he filmed it in a pool and
that's why he's the greatest.
That's why he's
you
do
what you got to do for the shot. Didn't he like pour milk in the pool?
Yeah, to make it look murky and more like the bottom of the ocean,
sea-like.
Yeah,
gross.
Yeah. So you've got this story of this little island, and it starts out with these probably late teens, early 20s kids running. One's drunk, and girl's taking off her clothes. She's gonna go skinny. She's gonna go skinny dip. She's going skinny dipping. And the guy ends up passing out on the sand while she's out in the water because he's drunk as shit. And then we see her, get attacked. Right. So that's how the movie starts. And then we have this whole drama of, should we close the beaches? Should we not? Mayor convinces the chief to keep them open. And bad idea, because poor little Alex Kittner takes his little raft out and gets chowed down.
That's right. This is not a horror movie, but yet it kills kids and dogs.
It does. True story. And the funniest, listening to Horror Virgin this week, I gotta bring this up because I laughed my ass off. The scene where all the parents run in the water, right? Because the shark attacks Alex and they see the shark.
Yeah.
All the parents run out, grab their kids, right? And they're running back. And then at the end, you just see Alex Kittner's mom. All the parents are on the shore and she's still out in the water, like looking around for Alex. Todd on Horror Virgin said that she lost the worst game of musical chairs ever.
Oh, he's very sad at that birthday party.
Oh, so sad. But instead of just not getting a chair, you lost your kid. Oh, sad times.
Too soon?
Too soon?
Too soon.
Too soon. 1975.
1975.
Poor Alex Kittner's mom.
Still hurts.
Oh, man. I love that, though. Props, Horror Virgin.
That was a
good job. So then, then we have this search for, then they still leave the beaches open on the 4th of July, even after all that shit. And we got the shark expert, and we've got the chief of police, and we got Quint, the crusty old, shark hunter, and they embark on a journey after a couple more deaths. It took like two more shark attacks before
didn't the mayor like have this like race, basically a bounty, and then people went out and like threw their wives' Christmas hams or summer hams out there, and then broke a dock.
It was actually Alex Kittner's mom that offered the bounty.
And it was the roast.
She offered the bounty of $3,000.
That's right.
If anybody could come and would come and get
shark's
and
head.
she took ads out, and so the whole place was filled with all these fishermen from all over the place that came into town to catch this big shark.
Because that's what you do. You chum the waters when there's a shark.
Yeah. Which always amazed me that there wasn't like the shark just didn't pop up in the middle of all the boats and
with all of the chum, but
which actually would have been kind of fun. That's how they would have done. That's instead of being subtle like they did in that movie. If it had been filmed today, when all the fishing boats were out there, that scene would have just been like a massacre. The shark would have just eaten everybody, just to make it more salacious. Fun fact, though, when she comes up and she smacks Roy Scheider in the face, 17 takes, and she couldn't do a fake slap, so it was full slaps every time. 17 takes across the face. Roy Scheider said that was the most painful scene he's ever done, and he was a professional boxer.
It's not that bad. I've been slapped in the face quite a few times.
17 times though, that's a lot.
That's a lot. But
I bet you'd be hurting after that.
How hard could she have slapped, really?
So we end up with these the three guys, right? Ultimately, the more people die, the mayor finally gives in and gives Quint the shark hunter his money, and Quint and Brody and Hooper all end up out on the Orca, which is Quint's boat. searching for. Not ironic, I'm sure, very purposeful, but the orca is the shark's only predator, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
only other
pretty much.
Yeah, apex predator
for a great white.
Besides us,
the only thing above them, yeah. I mean, besides us. So they're out on the orca. You know, the most iconic scene is when Brody is in the boat and the shark comes up out of the water and then just dips back down, and he's the only one that sees him, and he just backpedals into the galley where Quint is, and he says, you know, you're going to need a bigger boat, which was ad-libbed by Roy Scheider.
Brilliant. Wow.
Not in the script, but of course the most iconic line of the whole movie.
Yeah, ever.
And you know, then we've got this battle, you know, where they harpoon it and they got the barrels and they chase it down and they hook him at one point and they, you know, all this different stuff. And then eventually the shark bangs the side of the boat and breaks the boat open, and boat starts filling up with water, and, you know, and it just goes to this big climax where eventually, you know, Quint gets eaten, as the shark comes up, you know, onto the boat and sucks him down. And then at the end, we've got this climactic ending where Roy Scheider shoots the oxygen tank and blows Jaws up into the air and
into
floats back down. And then we have Hooper that comes up from the bottom of the ocean after at one point he went down in the cage in a scuba suit and then dove down to the bottom and then comes back up at the end and like, hey, we won.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
That's
well,
so
he goes
funny.
down in the cage, right? And then ends up, the shark hits the cage and he gets away and goes down to the bottom and sits down there until everything's done, and then pops up at the end.
Sits there,
well, it was towards the end. I mean, it was towards the end when they were
okay.
kind of doing everything, but Quint gets eaten in the meantime.
Oh.
And then pops back up and he's like, oh, you know.
Should have been Hooper.
Well, it should have been. Well, the thing about Hooper was in the book, Hooper does get eaten.
Oh, good.
He pops up, or he gets eaten in the cage, I believe. Which is what Spielberg wanted to do. He wanted to get Hooper. He wanted to have Hooper eaten in the cage, but they had so many issues with filming that they put a dummy in the cage to mimic this and make it happen, and they never got the right shot. So they ended up
scrapping it,
just getting to the end and being like, well, guess Hooper lives. And they just let him pop up.
But nowadays with CGI, it would be so much
They could have
easier.
figured it out. Yeah. But I mean, you think about, so that this movie was riddled with problems. Like it was so bad.
How bad was it?
It was so bad that Steven Spielberg vowed he would never film another water movie ever again.
How bad was it?
In fact, he said, in my next film, I am not even going to film anything in the bathroom.
I will not drink water.
I'm so tired of water.
No one's taking showers.
They said there's the documentary, the official documentary, which is on the Blu-ray, which is great. It's really in depth. I believe it's titled "The Shark Is Not Working," because they had this giant mechanical shark that they had built for this movie, and they put that thing out in the water, and basically it hadn't really been tested very well, and it was just constantly breaking down. It didn't even work for the first 10 days of filming. Like, it was a pain in the ass.
You know that I myself am a bit of a shark maker.
You did a Halloween costume where you were a shark. I forgot about that. Where you're being eaten by a shark.
How
has that not come up yet in this podcast?
I was a man eater.
Oh my gosh. I am so posting that picture online this week.
I built this 6-foot shark that went around the top of me. And
did you have to look through?
I made a little. This was me in college too.
When all the other girls were dressed as slutty nurse, slutty fill in the blank,
slutty bee, slutty ladybug.
Kris was a shark attack victim.
No, I was a man eater. You had to say it like that.
Whoa, here she comes. Watch out, boys, she'll chew you up. Whoa, here she comes. She's a man eater.
I sang that all night long. My friend the bobblehead.
She only comes out at night.
I'll make sure to get you that picture.
Oh man, we are definitely sharing that. That was I cannot believe that hasn't come up yet.
I can't
I
believe
totally thought about that this week too. So oh man. So yeah, so pain in the ass to film, you know, all these issues. But gosh, glad he did it.
Yeah.
Because it was a badass movie, man. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. I love Jaws. I could watch it over and over again. I watched it like 4 times this week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and just the best cast too. I mean, Robert Shaw, who played Quint, is just one of the most iconic characters I think ever. Notorious alcoholic, terrible to work with. They had problems with him on the set, getting drunk.
Just like his character.
The USS Indianapolis scene where he's supposed to tell the story about the USS Indianapolis and, you know, the true story, actually, the USS Indianapolis story is a real story. That's a true thing that happened in World War II. The first time they filmed it, he was piss ass drunk and could not get through the scene. And ended up having to go basically apologize to Spielberg and came out next day and did it in one take.
It's very meta.
I know, right? You would think drunk, he'd be able to nail it because that's the way you're supposed to do it, right? And he died 3 years after filming.
No.
After filming it, 1978, dropped dead of a heart attack at 51 years old.
Wow.
He was British. He was a British actor, and died in Ireland.
Doesn't seem as though he took very good care of his body.
No, so. he was an alcoholic. He was kind of a notorious alcoholic. Had some issues
but
that way.
But a brilliant actor.
Really good actor, but always there's a lot of stories. If you go online and look up Robert Shaw and look up stories of him and stories of him with other actors and stuff like that, it's pretty interesting. He played a villain against Sean Connery a couple times. I think he was in.
You can't say it like that.
Bond. Sean Connery.
There you go.
Sean Connery. I'll take the rapist for 5,000, please, Alex.
That's David. I'm sorry.
Ain't no bumfuck. So Robert Shaw, kick-ass character. Roy Scheider, great, and then Richard Dreyfuss. You know, this scene. I mean, I think he was in American Graffiti before this. Which have you ever seen that American Graffiti? Mm-mm. God, there's so many people in that movie. It's a pretty rad movie to watch because you're like, oh shit, that's that person, that's that person. They're all young and they all play kind of these small town.
It's like The Outsiders,
1950s, kind of.
Where you're like, oh, that guy,
yeah,
and that guy,
yeah,
and
it's set in the 1950s too, kind of that same kind of deal. But that's why he got this part. And then after that, you know, he was in a ton of stuff. But yeah, man, love this movie. Big fan. And it is the apex of all shark movies. There is no doubt about it. It instilled in all of us a fear of sharks at a very early age, I think. Don't you agree?
Well, definitely at least a slight paranoia.
For sure. And man, yeah.
It's really unfounded in fact, though.
It is.
Love your local sharks.
Steven Spielberg said, not that long ago, I think it was in the documentary, he said, nothing has even come close to the difficulty of filming this movie.
And that's why it's so great.
And it really is. I mean, it shows. I mean, literally every shark scene, every scene where you see the shark that was it. That was the only shots they got of the shark for that entire movie. That was it. That was all they had to work with.
That's some brilliance in editing too.
They had to do some magic to make it all work.
Plus John Carpenter's score building up the tension.
John Williams.
John Williams.
John Carpenter's score would have been awesome in that too, though. I would have really appreciated some
Chris is gonna kill me.
Some John Carpenter. I would love to see John Carpenter like remake the Jaws score.
That'd be cool.
That'd be rad too. I love John Williams stuff, but it's also very flowery and like there's a lot of like flutes and, you know, the ups are very up and the downs are very like down, but
he does the trick.
We need some synthesizer in that bitch. That's what we need.
We need some dramatic synth like from Stranger Things. RIP, RIP.
Well, thank you for doing some shark stuff with me.
Aww.
Cheers.
Me clinking my
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women. had to cheers you just so I could say that.
Wait, what's the song? Show me the way to go home.
I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a drink about an hour ago and it went straight to my head. But
I had different lyrics than you, but that's okay.
All right, Feardos. Farewell and adieu. Until next time.
Stay afraid. Stay very afraid.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.